Hello everyone and welcome to this new Touchdesigner tutorial, and again we are going to look at how to use Depthmap inside Touchdesigner to create a particle point cloud. And this time we are not going to use SOP but the new family operator POP. So this tutorial is as well like good insight to see how POP works, and especially the particle POP, which is really simple to use but as well really powerful. So huge shout out to Richard Burns for the conference he did in London for Touchdesigner, and it gave me like the wish to explore more the pops and to explore the technique we can use to use Depthmap into it. So I really recommend you like to check this conference. It's on the Touchdesigner YouTube channel. And so the process we are going to look at is quite easy. First, we are going to generate the depth map and color map, this time in Comfyui. So maybe you are not interested in the process of generating those. So if so, you can skip the first part of the video, but otherwise, yeah, I'm going to show you like how I did those. And then we are going to look at different things we can do in POP, and especially the particle operator. So that's pretty much it. So if you are interested of downloading the file, you can find them on my Patreon, and otherwise I'm gonna explain everything in the video. So first thing first, I'm going to go to Comfyui to start the generation process. So here we are in Comfyui, and I already generated the base picture. In order like to have a good quality, it's and better like stability in the output, I prefer to use like smaller resolution, and then I'm gonna upscale it. So the first method would be like just to utilize the upscale node, but I found it like not really good. So it's better to upscale it by a model. So here I use the Real Gun X4, and it works pretty well. And I just upscale it by 2. And so yeah, I'm just pressing execute, and it will upscale it. So it's really simple node, really easy to understand. And for the one who wants, like, I will put the JSON file on my Patreon. So once we have upscale our base picture, we go to Depth Anything v3 in order like to create the map. So I'm using Depth Anything v3 model called Mono Large, and I think it's the one that works the best, at least from the test I did. And also like be really careful to save your image in 16-bit, otherwise we won't have enough data to create our depth map. So this is not in the Comfyui core, but you have to install it from Node Manager. And yeah, the settings I found work well was with DA3 model, Mono Large model, Precision Auto, and normalization mode. I use V2 style and resize method resize, and this is where I found the best result. Yeah, so press execute. And next thing is going to be to import the upscale model and Depthmap inside Touchdesigner. So here we are inside Touchdesigner, and I'm just going actually to drag and drop the two pictures I generated in Comfy inside Touchdesigner. And this will create the two operator. Be sure to check on the depths that you do have 16-bit picture. Once we have both nodes there, the first thing I want to do is to kind of get rid of the background of my first one. And to do so, I'm going to add a threshold after the depths. And I will try like to only get the building. So right now it's pretty cool, like by default. And I'm going to multiply both of them. And here you can see we get rid of the background. And then just add null on both. First one will be color, and the second one will be depth. And here, here we are going to see like quite the powerful of the pops. So after the depths, we are right-clicking and pop, and we do top to pop. And here in first SGBA, we choose devs as first SGBA contain devs, and the top is devs. And now we only have actually the devs information, and what we want is to have as well the color information. So for that, I'm going to add a top here by clicking on plus and drag and drop this null color tops. But now you can see like the picture is quite the range of the picture is not really good. So in depth we are going to rearrange. So rearrange to low high. I'm going to put 1 and 1, and here you can see we have like something which is more realistic. So here, like just those few clicks, and we already have the model we want. Now let's build a first render system just to see if how it works. So in order to build a render system in Pop, it's quite easy. Like right-click on the end and go to a geo. And this geo, I'm going to instance it with a, or not to instance it, but to render it with a point sprite. Drag and drop on it. And then let's just add a camera and render. And let's choose 1280 by 1280. RGB key at the end. And here we have our first image. Let's zoom in. And as you can see, we are actually not on the right side. We are quite at the opposite. So what we can do is just change our camera to go to the right direction. And here we are. So now we already have, in a quite easy way, our base model. I don't like colors, so I'm just going to add a monochrome. And we already have something that looks quite good. Maybe we can have like more point from there. And then what I want to explore is, so two things. First, I want to have particles all around, like going out of the model. And second, I want to have the model to be a bit moving as well, like if underwater. So first thing, I'm going to add a null. And we'll maybe start by creating the model the way we want. So there is like a really useful operator in it, which is the delete. And the delete operator, basically, if you go to scene, you can and you enable it, you can kind of delete a lot of points from the model, or just a little bit. So let's see, like that, I can really like kind of like scene the model, and I can add like some randomness. So I have like, I'm starting to have less data, but in a more random way. And I'm going to do that in order like to have a first one like that. And then I'm going to create at the end of, to add at the end of this null a noise and replace here. And you can see like this noise is too important. So I'm going to reduce it like to something lower in the period, and as well in the amplitude. So something really small in amplitude, something maybe like that. And I'm going to animate this noise in translate z and apps per seconds by 0.5. So now we have this kind of wavy effect, but again, I feel like there is way too much point. So I'm going to add here as well a delete, and I'm gonna scene the model. So we maybe have something only like that. And with what is incredible with Pops is like you can we can just merge the two models by adding a merge, and we can merge both of them. So we have both both model on top of each other, which is really great. And here maybe I'm going to have smaller here and get a bit more crazier here. So here already we have something quite interesting, but what I would really like to do now is to add like this particle effect. And as before, we would have need like a feedback or like a noise plus feedback plus kind of a live component. Here, everything is kind of gathered in one operator, which is particle. So I'm middle mouse clicking after the null and add a particle. And basically what the particle does is it creates particles every second or frame. So let's choose frame. So every second it will, every frame it will create one new particle to a maximum of 1,000 and just do that. And the particle will live and then die. So it's kind of a live component in a way. And after this we can add a noise and then a null. And in the particle, if target particle update pop, we choose a null, then we will see like it will create exactly what the noise is doing over time. So let's connect it instead of the merge. And so right now there is not much particle. So let's top the maximum to 4,000 and let's create maybe 2,000 particle per second. And you can see like it's going like really fast, really fast. And so now we could increment as well a live variance. So it is more continuous and the noise is maybe way too big. So let's do like 0.01 and yeah, we start to have something like where we can see the model being slowly shifting. So I'm going to decrease the period to something lower, maybe 0.5. Yeah, looks better. And maybe 0.3 here to have something really slow. And then in the transform, we are going like to slowly shift the noise over time. So it's not creating always the same path. So uptime.seconds, maybe multiplied by 0.1. Let's see. And yeah, seems quite good. We can see like it's slowly shifting, but not too much neither. And now in the output, what I want to do is instead of combined entity having noise, I want curl 3D. So yes, we will start having more like of this really interesting curl movement. And maybe here it's still a bit too fast. Let's go to 0.0002. And yeah, pretty much it. I think like it's already starting to look really great. But yeah, as you can see here, we still don't have the colors. It's only black and white, and it's because in attributes we have to say like we want the color as well. And now we have the color as well on our particle model. And yeah, that's kind of pretty much it. And now we can just merge it with the rest of the model and just put it. And we already have something like quite convincing, and it only gets like a couple operator to do that. So this is kind of the power of the pops, but we can push it a bit to have something a bit better. I feel like those particles are nice, but maybe they should be like a bit bigger than the point sprite. And either I can increase the point of all the model, but then it's not going to look good. So what I'm gonna do is like use another operator. I'm gonna use the sphere pop, and maybe decrease the frequency to 2, so it doesn't need too much compute power, or even to 1 if we are afraid of our GPU getting overload. And this I'm going to copy. First I'm going to transform it to have something really smaller, so 0.01 maybe. Let's try, and then copy. And basically what copy does, it's going to instance the sphere on the second input, and the second input will be our null 2 of the particle. And this we can connect to a geo. So now we have a lot of particles as a sphere. They are clearly too big, so let's reduce their size to 0.01, maybe 0.2. And let's add a constant mat, and use it for our geo. And you can see like now it's good, but we have lost like the color information, and this is because in the copy we have as well to say like what we want to copy. So we copy like by default we copy the position, but in template attribute we should say use template attributes and destination point, and what we want to copy is the color. And now we are copying as well the color. So I think it's still a bit too big. Let's put it at 0.15, maybe, something like that. And then maybe we can play on the constant, and we can diminish a bit the opacity and add blending transparency. And we have something pretty cool. Maybe there's a bit too much particle. And maybe the expectation of life is too big, so let's put it to 3 and reinitialize the system. Yeah, I think it's it starts to be quite cool. As well, what we could do is to add some camera movement. So one thing I really like to do is to create a circle SOP. And we are going to use this circle as the path to our camera. So let's in circle SOP, let's say ZX instead of XY, and primitive. Connect this to a null. And in our camera, let's reference this null as our path. And then we have to tell to the camera to look at a null, which will be like the position where it looks at, and it will be 0, 0, 0. Oh, let's first reset all the parameters in our camera and redo this. And then look at null. And then in our circle, increase the radius. And now you can see, like, if we go to our geo, the problem is like our model is not centered. So we should first center our model. So I'm going to give some room here, and after our top, let's add a transform. And this transform, we are going to offset the z-axis by something like 1.64. So here the aim is really like to get the center of our model the maximum we can, and maybe let's offset it a bit here so we have like this angle. Yeah, I think it should be pretty good, but as you can see, like our camera now is not in the right position, so let's just make it move and diminish maybe the radius here and go a bit down, something like that, or a bit up, I don't know. Yes, maybe here. And so now what we should play with is the like the rotation. Of course, we cannot fully rotate because our model is like fake 3D. It's not fully 3D. So let's maybe get a bit from top. This is too low. Yeah, something like that, with maybe a smaller, something more like that. And so I can see here, like, it's good from 0.2 to something like 0.3. So let's add mat, chop mat. And in range, so we say 0.2 to 0.3. And then we add an LFO before it, actually. And we connect. And in the frequency, let's put 0.1. So the LFO has an amplitude of 1, meaning it's like the signal will go from -1 to 1 around 0 because we have an offset of 0. And so in math we say -1 to 1 is going to be 0.2 to 0.3. Connect this to a null and use this as our export for our position. And now we have nice camera movement to follow up a bit the model. Still not really happy of so now what we can play is a bit with the light. So let's add a bloom operator here. And before that, maybe add a level. So we can have a bit more brightness, maybe a bit less gamma and really slight inch more of contrast, maybe more gamma, and it starts to be a bit better. And now let's play with some blur operation. So like we could play with depths of the render by using depth render, but what we can as well do, which works quite fine, is use a circle. So I'm connecting the circle to the bloom operator, but it's just to get the resolution. So in output, in combined with input, we just say set resolution only. And we are going to increase the softness to quite a lot actually. And the radius, we augment it. This is going to be used for the Luma blur with the Luma blur operator. And in the background, we say background alpha 1, and then we connect this to a Luma blur operator. And basically what the Luma blur does, it's blurring the first input by using the second as a map. And here it says like if there is white, then we want the filter to be activated. So we are going to invert this and say to be on the black. And now we have like this little effect on the side of filter. I'm going to increase even more and maybe increase the radius here. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And I'm going to copy paste this operator and increase a little bit the radius. And we are going to multiply this with after the Luma blur to create like a proper mask. And then maybe I'm going to increase a little bit the intensity of the bloom and play on the pre-gamma and pre-brightness to have something like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So as you can see, like this pop family is really powerful, and like right now it's running perfectly 60 FPS, even if I'm generating around more than 1 million points. So even if I'm on a high-end graphic card, it's still way more powerful than any other operator to do this kind of things. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and on my Patreon will be all the file of the project, as well as JSON to generate the image in Comfyui, even if the nodes are quite simple to do. So hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I will be able to make more tutorials soon.